Disney, Zegler pulled a con so bold in London, audiences were screaming refund in 4 languages. Let's just say that thanks to Zegler, a bad publicity stunt, and a few hundred smartphones, the big number she was supposed to sing in Evita is now all over social media.
It's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
It wasn't sincere because she's had a long history of saying woke, annoying things. Our new Snow White.
Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
Rachel Zegler just got torched by some of Hollywood's biggest names, called out for being arrogant, ungrateful, and completely tone deaf. Critics didn't hold back. The backlash wasn't subtle. It was a public dragging.
Very first actress in history to become box office poison before she ever came box office.
From wrecking Snow White to tanking Disney's credibility, she's become the face of how ego and performative activism can sabotage a rising star. Some are even calling her the worst actress in modern Hollywood.
It was a wholesome family film, and now they've turned it into woke trash. Check this out from Men Wokeness. Disney's Snow White said that harm should befall Trump and his voters. Do not see this film.
It all started with a Cinderella story, or so it seemed. At just 17, Rachel Zegler landed the role of Maria in Spielberg's West Side Story. Huge break. Spielberg doesn't cast amateurs. She even bagged a Golden Globe, and for a moment, it looked like a new A-lister had arrived.
Rachel Zegler's career launched when, at 17, she landed the role of Maria in Steven Spielberg's 2021 adaptation of West Side Story.
Headlines hailed her as the future of film. Casting directors lined up. Studios circled. And Disney? They bet the kingdom on her. Over $200 million poured into their Snow White remake, convinced she was the next big thing. Spoiler, she wasn't.
Rachel Zegler, being 23 or whatever she is, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infatata is the only global solution.
By 2025, the girl once poised to rule Hollywood wasn't walking red carpets, she was running from public backlash. Crying on stage during Evita. Playing to empty houses. And getting clowned online as the punchline of her own failed fairy tale.
An iconic song, yes, but it's the balcony grabbing all the attention.
Evita, by the way, got so desperate for foot traffic, they started live streaming Rachel's performance outside the theater, like some sad Broadway busker. Couldn't sell seats? No problem. Just throw up a screen and pray someone glances at it between coffee orders. Tickets literally dropped to 0 online. Free. As in, please, just come watch her sing about Argentina.
There will be people who are disappointed that she hasn't sung it live in the theatre, but I think it's going to be greatly outweighed by the theatricality of using film in that way.
But let's be fair, this isn't all on theatergoers. Disney basically handed her the shovel to dig her own grave. From the start, Rachel's casting as Snow White was a PR landmine. The original 1937 princess was soft-spoken, graceful, traditionally fair. Disney's 2020s version? They gave us Rachel, who turned Snow White into a snarky CEO with a vendetta against fairy tales and a LinkedIn profile that screams girl boss.
Woke in a way that's quite deranged.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
And you didn't have to be a Disney purist to feel the whiplash. Parents just wanted a nostalgic reboot. Instead, they got a lecture. A woke, modernized Snow White that felt less like magic and more like a corporate seminar on female leadership. The only thing missing was a PowerPoint.
Actually, Rachel Zegler, who is the new Snow White, and she's talking about Snow White being woke.
Can you tell us a little bit about your version of Snow White?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age. And there's such an emphasis on what it really means to be the fairest of them all. And for Snow White, it's coming to terms with finding herself and finding her inner voice and finding a sense of agency so that she can be a just ruler.
And Rachel? She dug her own grave with a megaphone. She called the prince a stalker, mocked the love story as a weird, and then tried to reinvent the name Snow White as some sort of weather survival tale. Apparently, it's not about her skin tone anymore, it's because she survived a blizzard. A blizzard? who approved that rewrite. The same creative geniuses who thought turning the Seven Dwarfs into glowing CGI background filters was a step forward. Yeah, let's not even touch that mess just yet.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
Critics and fans tore her apart, and honestly, who could blame them? She took a multi-million-dollar role and spent the press tour telling the world how ridiculous the character was. That's like casting someone as Spider-Man and having them say, honestly, I think webs are gross and I hate New York. It's unhinged. Sure, Ryan Reynolds might mock his own roles, but at least he does it with charm. Rachel's version felt more like a hit piece than a promo tour.
That at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
You heard that right. Zegler not only believes that she's a priceless work of art, she thinks she's sacred, and she doesn't just shout that into the mirror.
Fans weren't buying it. The hashtag not my Snow White exploded overnight, faster than her box office crashed. The backlash wasn't subtle. People were done watching celebrities butcher childhood classics just to earn a few progressive brownie points.
I do believe that there's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion.
Nobody wants their childhood memories rewritten by someone who treats every interview like a spoken word critique of the past. And Rachel? She made it her mission to remind everyone how much she despised the original, hated the prince, mocked the romance, and acted like the movie was some medieval hate crime. Honestly, I'm shocked she didn't take a swing at the apple too.
Cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There is a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie.
And somehow, it gets worse. She didn't just alienate fans, she went on a one-woman tour of public rudeness. A rising star is supposed to smile, wave, and fake it till they make it. Not Rachel. One fan sang a West Side Storyline to her at a Chili's, and instead of a thank you, she went on Jimmy Kimmel to say he ruined her night. Girl, he complimented you. You're not the Queen of England, you're in a chain restaurant.
In one clip, she calls the Sharks, the rival gang of the Jets in this new version of West Side Story, a rainbow of the Latino community, and then struggles to name what constitutes Latino diversity.
It didn't stop there. At Disneyland, yes, Disneyland, on the Snow White ride based on the movie she starred in, she casually said she has to pretend to like fans when they ask for photos. Pretend. As in fake being nice to the people who made her famous. That's not just ungrateful, it's career sabotage dressed up as honesty.
Hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Babe, what business do you mean?
Let's talk numbers, because this wasn't just cringe, it was catastrophic. Disney poured over $200 million into the Snow White remake, then threw another $100 million at marketing. That's more than some countries' GDP. And for what? A U.S. opening weekend that limped in at $43 million. By week 2, it nosedived with a 66% drop. That's not a stumble, that's a Titanic-level disaster. Cue the lifeboats and violins.
Very long time, it seems that nobody has quite captured the public's disdain like our girl, Rachel Zegler. The damage had been done.
Theaters started quietly exiling it, shoving it into awkward matinee slots or pulling it all together. Even China, where Disney usually rakes in easy cash, said, nah, and gave them less than $1 million. That's concession stand money. Final damage? Around $150 million in losses. Somebody at Disney probably fake retired just to escape the Zoom calls explaining this train wreck.
She recently told that to a reporter and her psychiatrist that every inch of her body is built inside and out to be worshipped. My compassion has no boundary.
So, yeah, go woke, go broke didn't stay a slogan. Rachel Zegler turned it into a business plan. She insulted the fan base, disrespected the source material, alienated the audience, and torched hundreds of millions of dollars, all while crying from a balcony because people weren't paying to see her stage show.
White, they recreated it. You know, Disney's gone woke, as I keep telling you guys, even though a lot of the woke stuff is disappearing.
Let's not forget, there are hundreds of actresses in Hollywood who would have sold their souls for the roles Rachel got handed. But instead of gratitude, she bundled up those golden opportunities into a flaming ego ball and hurled it straight into Disney's most sacred pie. Talent or not, humility isn't teachable. You either have it, or you Rachel Zegler it right off a cliff.
I'm a narcissist.
Here's how it went down. Disney, in one rare stroke of sanity, originally planned to cast actual actors with dwarfism in the remake. You know, because they're the dwarfs. But then Peter Dinklage, self-appointed ambassador of all things short, hopped on a podcast and called it regressive. That's all it took. Boom. Years of tradition, gone. Disney folded faster than Rachel's second weekend box office.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive. You'd think the most progressive thing would be get people jobs, and dwarfs want to work.
One podcast rant from a guy who already owns more awards than most people own forks, and Disney folded like a wet napkin. Total panic mode. They scrapped the original cast plan and replaced the dwarfs with what? CGI blobs. Glowing, soulless, Play-Doh-looking creatures that felt like they were rendered on a high schooler's flip phone. Progressive? No. Embarrassing? Deeply.
A different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's how.
And you wonder why people are turning from this stuff in droves.
And, yeah, the actual dwarf actors were furious, and they had every right to be. These were rare, high-paying, tailor-made roles. Instead, Disney yanked them away in a desperate attempt to score fake woke points. The irony? They excluded real actors in the name of inclusion. One actor nailed it, Peter's rich. We're not. They weren't trying to start a movement, they were just trying to pay rent. But Disney would rather pat itself on the back for digital glitter blobs than deal with the optics of hiring real people.